Boogie, woogie, woogie, woogie. Jason Tamarack here on the Gorehound's Playground Storytellers Time Hour. I'm here with Dustin.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
How are you today?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm really, Tired. Well, I'm not that tired, actually. I'm mellow. Very mellow.
Mellow? Like Grim?
Grim. That's your new character's name. Grim.
Yes, Grim. We'll get to him later. Today, don't you have a story for us?
I do. Something you were telling me I should talk about the other night. My childhood, I guess. What do you want to know?
Oh, didn't you say you lived next to a mortuary?
Yeah. I lived a really strange childhood. During the time it wasn't strange. It was kind of normal, But when you look back at your life, you're like, that was a little strange. And I never questioned it or never really
thought it was different the norm. Yeah.
So my mom was a single parent for a short time, and she left my real dad and moved into this really ugly-looking puke green apartment building. It was like a 2-story apartment building. The stairs go up to the second floor. Pretty nice on the inside. We were in apartment number 1, and
number 1.
There was no fence. It was really weird the way they built. They built the apartment complex with the backyard, like facing the mortuary owner's house. It's hard to explain, but you have the cross streets, Beaver and Oak. Yes, I grew up on a Beaver
Street. Yay!
And believe it or not, down the street, there's a liquor store called Beaver Liquors. No lie.
Beaver Liquors.
That'd be a really good joke for Bill to put together.
Okay.
So, I'm trying to describe the way the apartment complex was set up next to this mortuary because it fits a lot of the stories and the unique experiences that I had living next to this mortuary.
Okay, so your backyard is facing his front yard, is that correct?
Yeah, so his front yard is like facing the street, but our backyard is like parallel with the side of his front yard. Does that make sense? And then there's like a oval.
So you're like catty corner with the property.
Yes, and there's like an oval driveway. Like it's kind of a fancy house. It has one of those like half oval driveways.
Okay.
I'm trying to describe this.
That's so they can get the cars in there?
That's just the owner's driveway.
Okay. Oh, it's not for the business.
That's for the house. So you got this mortician house. The owner lives there. And then you have this parking lot next to the owner's house where, when they have...
The parking lot.
Yeah, funerals, Peel Park. But in that same parking lot, on the opposite end of the parking lot, there's more apartment complexes. There's like 2 apartment complexes, and they're part of that mortuary. The owner owns that, and a lot of the morticians that worked there, they also lived there.
Okay.
It's called Flagstaff Mortuary.
Flagstaff.
You look like you're already freaking out on me, dude.
Oh no, that joint we had earlier is making me a little sleepy.
Well, this is gonna get really. This might be a sleepy story.
It's okay. I won't fall asleep.
This might be a sleeper.
Enjoying my little upsy downsy.
All the buildings are painted like this really ugly yellow color. So we're in this like ugly green apartment, and the mortuary is this ugly yellow color.
Great.
It's a retro yellow color. So my childhood was unique that I used to play in the side yard next to the mortuary, and my friends, a lot of my friends, their dads were morticians.
Oh.
And so I'd go hang out around the mortuary. That was my fucking playground. behind the
Bet you had some fun toys.
The cremation. I'll get to the toys later, man.
The cremation.
So you get to the cremation area of the mortician, and at the time, I didn't know what it was. I was, a naive little kid.
How old?
Probably like 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
6, 7.
Okay.
And back then, you didn't really have to worry too much. Like, you let your kids run around and
didn't even question anything.
Yeah. It was like, so we were running around playing around this mortuary. Pretty dangerous place, actually. In the back, they have like all the, whatever they use for the cremation room, the gas, whatever they use.
Oh, yeah.
So they have, stacks of, gas
flammable
tanks.
Compressed
gas tanks in the back. And then there's tomb markers and tombs and etched, really nice, beautiful etched tombs.
Yeah.
And
tombstones.
Then literally right next to that was the owner's house. And in the backyard there was a trampoline that you used to jump on.
So if you messed up on the trampoline, you fell into a...
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
And
you never had nightmares?
Never have nightmares. No.
Well, you're so young, it didn't matter. You didn't know the difference.
No, but I did have. There was this incident. My buddy Paul, his dad was a mortician, and his parents. This is a pretty shocking story, very true story.
Excellent.
And this all involves living around that mortuary. It's a very dark business, and it was actually a very dark area to live around.
Profiting off death.
Exactly. So I was over in the parking lot on my bike riding around with Paul, and all of a sudden Paul's stepmom runs out of the house. Don't come inside!
Uh-oh.
Stay outside! Don't come in here, boys! And all of a sudden, an ambulance pulls up.
Oh my God.
His dad killed himself. Well, he shot himself. He didn't die right there, but he committed suicide, ended up dying in the hospital.
Oh my God.
And this it was crazy because we were just playing out in the parking lot, and that was a suicide at the mortuary.
Did you hear the gunshot?
I did.
What did it sound like?
Fucking loud, like it echoed because all the concrete in the parking lot.
And then Mom started screaming and crying.
Yeah, she was screaming and crying and telling us to stay outside.
Wow.
And I remember Paul. He had to stay at my house for a couple of nights so his real mom could come and pick him up, and his dad died in the hospital.
Did he leave a note? Do you know?
There's no note. I don't remember if there was a note, man, but Paul and I were pretty tight. After that, I never saw Paul again. And I was too young to really,
His real mom lived away?
In Phoenix. Yeah.
That sucks.
So, Paul...
You never got to follow up with him?
No. I don't know what happened, man. That's one... Maybe it was so traumatic for me that I just that was it, I don't know. It was a traumatic incident.
Yeah.
I shut a lot of that shit out.
Our brains do that. It's defense mechanism.
But again, I had a really strange childhood. So both my parents worked at the hospital. And my...
Doctors?
No, they weren't. My stepdad was a surgical technician, and he was like a corpsman in the military.
Oh.
So he was like at the tail end of Vietnam, like the very tail end of it. And so he saw some shit, and
every corpsman sees some shit.
So yeah, it's pretty intense, job that he had too, But we had a weird childhood because, when Super Soakers came out.
Super Soakers, those were fun.
Everybody had one. And me and my brother would be playing with catheter bags in the hospital that my dad would bring home. My stepdad would bring home.
I bet those were more fun. You could strap them to under your arm.
Yeah, they were so long. You just put the bag underneath your arm and then hold the nozzle and then just...
Oh, so there's no trigger, man. You can just, as hard as you could squeeze on it?
So catheters, some catheters have like a little clamp on them.
Yeah.
That you
got to make it stop.
Push with your thumb. So they shot pretty far, man.
Nice.
Probably more powerful than a Super Soaker. And then he would bring home like hip replacements. So it'd be this titanium. It'll look like
ball joint.
Yeah, it was like almost looked like a knife. It was like the shape of a knife, but it was thicker than a knife. Yeah. But at the top was like a big brass ball or titanium ball, but it was always like gold. But so we used to play with that shit too, dude.
Yeah, I love that. I bet that was fun.
And one day I was at school. I was like 6th grade, and I get a call to go to the principal's office, and my stepdad picks me up, and he's like, "We're having daughter-father work day, but I don't have any daughters, so I'm going to take you to work with me."
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So he's
like, get out of school. I don't care.
Yeah, I got out of school. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is awesome. And my buddy Will, his mom was my stepdad's boss, so he got to get out of school too and go see surgeries too. So we had the opportunity to go see surgeries all day at the hospital. And back then, it didn't like really bother me. Even though I do like horror movies, some of that shit like really bothers me now as an adult. But back then it didn't. It's weird, man. It was like I was almost like really insensitive to it, But I saw a fractured elbow surgery and a hernia.
Oh my god!
And the most disgusting thing was the hernia. Yeah, the hernia was
I can imagine.
I can never fucking eat turkey because of this.
Okay, let's hear it.
I can't. It looked like they were fucking carving a turkey. Straight up. Ow. Straight up, dude. They would use a cauterizer tool, the burning tool that burns veins.
Could you smell it?
Oh, fuck yeah.
What did it smell like? I don't know if I want
burning flesh smells fucking horrible.
Well, human burning flesh. Beefy flesh smells good. Porky flesh smells good.
The same
human flesh, no. Not so good.
Well, think about our diets, dude.
Yeah,
and what we eat.
Pretty grody.
But, dude, it was fucking terrible. And then, so apparently, when they put grafts in for people who have hernias, right?
Yeah.
And they're...
Or meshes.
Yeah, they're like meshes. So apparently this mesh in this person broke. And they had to go back in there and like replace it. So I remember my stepdad pulling the mesh out and I'm sitting on a stool. And my dad says to me, if you feel sick or nauseous watching all this, I need you to sit down on the floor. But I'm on the stool, like, looking over everybody's shoulders, like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And this is going to scare you guys out there. And I hope my stepdad's retired. But these guys fuck around with your body when you're fucking out.
What do you mean fuck around with your body? Toss you around like you're dead cattle? Or
not like that. Not like...
Shove stuff up in your nose?
Not
molest you?
No, like, I would say more like joke around with you and like